good evening. Lockdown workshop. What day is it? 20th, 21st of March. It's actually quite warm at the moment. Standard weather report at the beginning of the workshop. It's getting light in the evenings now, so I should be able to start doing a lot more filming in the evenings, and I've got a lot of work to do. So this is the first of the backlog bikes, because we shut the workshop down while we were doing the garage, even though we're still full of crap down there. But this one's desperate. So this is the, remember the Pinnacle we did a few weeks ago? This is his dad's bike. I couldn't fit it in because I was doing the other work, so he took it to a local bike shop because he was worried about it because of what we'd found with Alex's bike. And local bike shop basically said the whole lot needs replacing, which is pretty much what I said they'd say needed doing for Alex's bike. And I'll be honest, we weren't far off replacing nearly everything. I think we did the front cog, the chain, the back cog, because they were gone. They were sharp teethed all over, and they were gone. So I don't know anything about this bike. I haven't even done an end check on it yet. I've just rolled it down and stuck it up on the ramp. So the only one thing I've done before I put it up there is I've just give the front brake a little squeeze just to see if we got any problems with the headset. And I'd look at that first. But you are on a voyage of discovery with me to see what's wrong with it. It has got some gear issues, which I suspect is what was driving it probably needs its chain doing. So we'll have a look at it, see if it is a complete write-off. They were saying it was all completely shot and it was so worn it all needs changing. I think it's the original chain, so it's not had another chain refit, so potentially Steve's done as many miles as Alex, but Alex is an absolute brute on the bike, so he probably just put a lot more grief on it. So we will see what it's like, and see if we can save him some money, because they've quoted stupid money. It's a 105 group set, so they'll have been quoting for a 105 or an Ultegra back block. They'll have been quoting, I don't know if that's an FSA or that is a Shimano. I don't recognise it. It could be an FSA. I'll have to have a look at the back of it. Some of these cranks now, they all start to look the same when they're not the standard group sets. So I'll have a look at that, see if we can see what the crack is. But even if we've got to replace it all, I'm sure we can do it for a fraction of the cost. Okay, that's probably about 50 quid. That's probably about 50, 60 quid, maybe more, if we go down the things, because it's a 105 group set, but that's not a 105 crank. I'm absolutely sure about that, because the 105 crank that goes with this group set, because this is the 5000 group set, sorry, the 7000 group set, that has a crank that looks almost identical to the 6800 Ultegra from the previous generation, and that ain't that. That's what I've got on my bike, so you know what they look like. So that's definitely not a 105 crank set. But anyway, right, we'll have a quick waz, see what we find. Right, moved you a bit closer. So I'll be honest, my camera work has been absolutely garbage since I moved to this camera. I've got a little bit lazy, or I'm trying to use it like the camera I had before, and you can't do that. You've got to keep reframing with this one. So we'll give you a quick zoom in there. Hope that thing's. So what I'm looking for first, food in 10 minutes. Whoa. Start at there, standard M check. You know how it works. Trace the shape of an M down the frame, and you just follow that and you do all them checks. So first thing's the axle. See if I can pan you down without making you feel seasick. So, well, actually, I'm checking the axle, but actually I do it up here. So you were in the right place. Pop, come on, autofocus. We'll get there eventually. Right. So first thing is it running smooth? Yes. Is it running true? not bad. There's a little bit of play there, but I'm not going to get excited about that. Quick release. That works nice. These are Tecro brakes, so they're not part of the group set. And all I'm looking for now is I'm just gonna. Right, I'm detecting. All I'm feeling now is if I can detect any movement. Now you have to be careful, because when you're doing this, there is obviously a bit of play in the rim. The rim will move, and sometimes when you're plonking it from side to side, you feel a knock, as if it's the bearings are going in the bottom. But you've just got to be careful, because you might actually be just pushing the rim against the pads, and what you're detecting is the pads, which is exactly what I was getting there. So I'm not getting anything. The other way you can do it is just put your ear on the frame. And I'm just listening for the noise of the bearing coming through the frame, which I can hear. I can hear it, so I can even, this is how sad it is, I can even tell you exactly what sort of ball bearings they are in there. There is 10 loose ball bearings in a cup and cone setup, so there you go. I can tell by the noise it's making. It's a little bit higher pitched noise than you get on the back, which is 9 balls in a cup and cone, because they're bigger balls. So there's 10 in the front, they're slightly smaller balls. There's nothing wrong with that. It might need re-greasing next year, but we're going to leave that well enough alone, because with these cup and cones, as soon as you go in, you potentially knacker all the seals up anyway. And these seals look good, so I'm going to leave them alone. Brilliant. It's not dragging, it's running smoothly. So I can hear it a little bit, but I don't think we've got any problems there. That felt like there was something in the tyre there. There's just something stuck to it. Right, so we've checked the brakes now. Put the quick release back on. Centered well, so they're okay. We know the top bracket's good, I've already checked that. Now we're moving down to the bottom bracket. Oh god. This is having issues already. Right. Yeah, so you can, oops, right. See, I'm not framing again, am I? I need to get into the habit of starting and stopping as well. Right, so we're into the bottom bracket now. I'm just trying to move the thing around. It's stuck halfway between a gear at the moment. Sorry, I've got lurgy as well, not COVID. All I'm feeling for here is there any play in the bottom bracket? Now I can't tell if this crank is moving smoothly, because it is dragging on the chain. So I'm just going to knock that off completely. Right, that feels okay. It's a little bit draggy, but with these bottom brackets, they are generally like that. Pedals, they're nice, they're lovely and smooth actually. Yep, they're both nice and smooth. You can feel there's plenty of really good grease in there. There's no play at all, and they're not loose, so that's fine. That bottom bracket is spinning nicely. Could possibly do with a bit of a clean and maybe a bit of lube down the back, just on the. It's a friction thing, so you do these. It could be a Shimano actually, because it's got the Shimano style of things. So I suspect it's it's a Sora or a Claris chain arm. I would guess. I'd need a torch to have a look at that. Let's have a look. Right, I can't find my torch, so I'm gonna have to get my Musty One imitation torch out. Though that looks like it's seen better days. Oh, I forgot that telescoped. Oh, right in eyes. I didn't want that. That's how you do it. Right, let's have a look. It says Pro Wheel Forged Ounce TT. That doesn't tell me anything. Is there anything on the outer? 2 times by 11 speed, so it is an 11 speed. That's answered that question. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, it's an 11 speed. Jobs are good, isn't it? Right, let's have a quick look at this side. RK02 10 100S. So it's a 10 or an 11 speed. and I'm not seeing any manufacturer's marks, but this does look, it's almost like a, the forging looks the same as a Shimano, and the mechanism for fastening it on looks the same as a Shimano, but the cap is definitely not a Shimano, but it is a Shimano style through axle. It's only going to be an issue if we have to replace these, because these won't be a standard, but what it does mean is we're not tied to getting the expensive Shimano ones. We can get the because they won't fit for starters, so these, a Praxis one would probably fit. I mean, it could even be a Praxis crank, to be honest. The trouble is I'm not seeing any numbers on there that are giving it away, and there's no markings on the thing at all, so all I've got to go on is that number. So we'll have a little play with that and stick it in and see if we can find it. If I had to guess, I would say it might be a Praxis. It could be one of the FSA ones, but they'd normally say FSA on. It's certainly some kind of a brand that's taken a similar forging to the Shimano, but the look of the FSA, because these were very much FSA when the 6800 crankset was around, because that's what Planitex were fitting on their bikes, an FSA that looked like that. Turn that off. Stick it somewhere where I'm not going to lose it. Right, so the chain's not grabbing. Right, the big thing with this one is we already know we've got an issue. So let's stick them in. So this is the 0.75mm drag. So this is the chain has grown by nearly 1 millimetre over that distance. Right, that has gone through. So the chain is stretched. Let's see if it's gone beyond. Right, it hasn't. Right, if I push it through, I can just get it to go through. So that chain is on the limit. It does need to be changed now, but it is not devastating. So I think that's me being called for me dinner. I will be back. Where was we? Oh yeah, just before dinner went. So I've established the chain is worn and it needs doing. I've now just got to work out what state the cogs are in. And sometimes it's best just to put something behind them so it doesn't distract you. Anything that's got a nice white background usually does well. Right, every single one of them teeth is spot on. Obviously the pickup teeth have got the tops off them, but that's normal. Let's just fasten this wheel up before we have a bar accident. Oh, this cold's getting worse. I hope it don't turn into that thing I had before Christmas, because that was 8 weeks. And I only just got back fit from that. Oh, we're just being awkward now. There we go. I'll stop that from swinging around. So we've just done the usual. We've just tied that on there. I think my lens might need cleaning. It's a bit scruffy. Right, I don't know the best way to do this, so I don't stand. There we go, we've got you looking at the back wheel now. Pull my trolleys up. Nobody wants to see that on YouTube. Well, I'm sure somebody does. We'll leave that right there. I'm just going to see what the gears are changing like. They're fine. I do want to stick it up onto a big ring, so just have a quick look at the teeth on the little ring. It depends how the rider rides. The teeth on the little ring look virtually untouched. We're on a compact group set, so it's a 50-34 as opposed to a standard that's a 53 or a 52, 36, 38. So it's the outer ring's probably the one that's used the most, and the little ring's only used for climbing, to be honest. So it will be the big ring that's got the problem. The little ring looks virtually untouched, so no, it looks fine. Not seeing any issues at all. I don't know why they think we've got some sharking going on. they look fine. These teeth around here are the lifter teeth, so they do have a different profile, but the standard teeth around there are fine. The chain is a bit scabby. I think it's going to have to come off, so I think we're going to we'll order one of them. I can't work out what sort of chain it is, whether it's just the generic Shimano or whether it's the slightly better one, whether it's one of the Ultegras or something. So let's just give it a quick, see if we can get some muck off it and have a look at it, because there might be an H. Right, so that's a KMC chain, so that's brilliant. That makes life a whole lot easier. I know the KMCs will work on this. I can just order an 11-speed KMC chain, so brilliant. We'll whip that off once I've checked the gears, because I just want to see if there's anything else wrong. Right, so it's gone up into the big ring. Okay, let's get it in the middle for some testing. Right, that's the best place to check your big ring. What's going now? That's changing beautifully. They're really good group set, these 105s. They're much better than the 5700 group set. The 7000 is sweet as a nut. But the 5700 was a little bit clunky. It wasn't that much better than the Tigra or the Sora. Yeah, there you go. That's changing lovely. That. So let's just take it through the gears. A little bit of a hesitation. No, that's fine. Oh, took a while to go up. I think we're indexed a bit. Yeah, I think we want to just turn that up a notch. It's a bit in the material, because it could be the fact the chain's worn that it's not changing properly. Yeah, that's much better now. I only wanted one notch. I keep seeing that clean link going round. Spot the clean link. There it is. That's nice and crisp. That's lovely. That's shifting as well as an Ultegra. Especially down. That's lovely coming down. There was a little bit of hesitation the first time we did it, but no, that's spot on. It's just that very first one. It's got tension in it. Another one. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, they're a lot crisper going up now. Just got to see whether it comes down nicely. That's what you tend to find happens. The more you move down the group set, the less leeway you've got on the trim, because the mechanisms, the salves that aren't as accurate. That's changing spot on that. I think when we clean up the turn it back one. Yeah, happy with that. Just test it again in the big ring. You tend to find they always are a little bit more sluggish in the, because the chain's not as tight, and we know it's loose already. No, that's spot on that. See if it comes down okay. Okay, you shouldn't run it in the first gear. No, that's spot on. That's going up and down nicely. That. Right, let's continue the M check. So I think we'll get all that off and give it a good, once the chain's off, we'll get it all off, give it a good clean. I might take the back block off, and I might just waz it through. Need to be careful because these are loose bearings, so they are more susceptible to me shooting a load of brake disc cleaner in there. So we've checked that. We now move up to that. Seat post good. There's no play in the seat post. That looks fine. Back brake's good. Quick release mechanism works well. Question is it? No, they're spot on. And they're centered quite nicely as well. There's no play on them at all. slacken that off and just check the back wheel bearing now. Nope. Quick listen. Nope, that's spot on. Really quiet. That's more quiet than the front one. So, brilliant. Nothing wrong with this bike at all. Just wants a new chain and a quick clean up of the drive set. So, I think that's pretty good. I'm not seeing any signs that we need to do anything with the sealed ball races on them either. So, I think we'll just... I'll just check the sealed ball races. They should be... Yes, an FSA headset, so that will be a sealed race. There's no point me chucking any grease in there. I'm just putting red grease on to make it look like I've done something. So, an easy one. All we're going to do is take the chain off, give this a quick clean up, and get it all back together again. Oh, I wish it were all this easy. Right, time to load the parts cannon. It's going to be a very little cannon though. Right, let's get this chain off. Try and do it so I'm not in your way. I think I saw the link. Yeah, there it is. It's a split link. So what I'll do is we'll get that out and then we'll give it back to Steve so he can have it as a spare in his backpack for if he does break a chain. Try not to lose it. Try not to get covered in crap. Oh, that chain's very sticky. I'll put that in the parts bucket. Remember, don't chuck away your chain until your new ones come, because you use this to measure the old one. So we'll just chuck that over there. In fact, no, we won't, because we've got ties on there. I will find somewhere to put that safe. There we go. So all we need to do, I think what I might do is I might pop that out and just give it a good clean up. Now I'm going to leave it. It doesn't need to come off, and I don't know this make, and if I start undoing them and we have a problem with it, then I'm into a world of pain and I've messed about with something I didn't need to mess about with. So I'll just shoot some cleaner in there and I'll try and get all the scab off it. We'll look up the serial numbers on here just because I'm curious, and we'll get that back wheel off and just shoot some cleaner round that lot there and see if we can make that look a bit better. Sorry, this tripod's absolutely useless. There's so much play in all the mechanism. Right then, I think that's the next job. Question is, can I get round the back without walking in front of the camera? God, it'd be lovely when I actually get a workshop when I'm not having to climb over everything. But it's not going to happen because it'll still end up full. Right, so we undo the quick release. That open, in case you don't know, it's quick release brakes. They open up the brakes so you've got enough room to get the tyre, because the tyre generally sits a little bit fatter than the rim. And we hope that Alex hasn't done this up, because I think I needed a sledgehammer and a run up last time to get his wheels off. He's a brute, that lad. Right, I suspect we might be missing something there. I could be wrong. Just probably want some grease in it. Right, it's still catching the tyres, but we're through. We're through. I don't like the look of that. That's interesting. Alright. I've never seen one done like that before, but hey ho, as long as it's not broken. Yeah, I think I'm going to get that off. I just want to have a look at what's going on with this, because this didn't appear to be playing particularly well. We'll get that off. We'll chuck it in the washer. In fact, you know what? We might have a laugh with this and chuck it in the ultrasonic, just as a little test. See if you can do these with the ultrasonic. I don't want to put the I don't want to do the derailleur because I don't want to undo it. It's working. Don't mess with it. Especially the fun and games I had with them 105s last. That Tigra last time. Yeah, they feel fine. Question is, can you see me? Boom. Yes. Good. And you're focused. Right. Actually, in the light of the camera, that looks quite clean, but I can tell you it's not. It's pretty acky. It's the oil that's catching the light. So we'll just whip that off, and we'll chuck it in there. I'm going to give it a quick visual inspection while I strip it down. Just make sure I'm not going to see any shark's teeth in. You're not going to see shark's teeth in on here if you don't see them on there, because the chain does more teeth on that gear than it will on these. You're spreading the load, and if you're going to see it, it'll be on the gears that you use the most. So there'll be 2 or 3 gears in the middle of the range that you use the most, and there where you're going to see it. So we'll see that when we get it off. But yeah, that's pretty scabby. That was weird, the autofocus had turned off. Right, stick that in there. Let's just go and get something to remember it. Old Faithful and the new one. I wouldn't normally do this if it's just a chain change, because it's not really worth it, but because we've got a suspicion that there might be some worn parts because of what the other bike shop said, we will do a proper job and give it a proper visual inspection. And it is pretty acky, so if I'm going to all the trouble of putting a new chain on it, and we're going to clean up the back derailleur as well, we might as well get this off. Oh, do you know what? I reckon that torqued properly. Just give this a quick inspection. You know, this bike hasn't got many miles on it at all. I don't know what they were saying. You'd normally see. I don't know if you can see that. Let's get you up a bit, and across a bit, and down a bit. Go on, Bernie the bolt. Go on, focus. I think you're focused. So what you're looking at is to see if there's any marks on here that each of the cogs in there will leave a mark on here, and there's hardly any. There's a few there. There's hardly any at all. This bike has, yeah, it's definitely the first chain. I'm not seeing any marks there. It's a bit dirty, but it's been ridden in the winter, which is how they should be. So nothing to do with that. I tell you what I didn't check actually is I didn't check if we've got any buckholes. Nope, that's true as anything. Steve's generally quite a mindful rider. He keeps out of the potholes, so I think that's good. This is pretty scabby. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some brake cleaner. See, that is a 105. But that setup is exactly the same as the old Ultegra setup. So there's a lot of people who've got this theory that when Shimano bring out a new group set, all they do is just roll it down. They roll a lot of the stuff down, so this is probably something that's very similar to the old ooh, come on, the old Ultegra back block. So I've just chucked a bit of brake cleaner on this because this grease is fairly thick and gunky. So we'll just give it a bit of help before it goes in the parts washer. We'll stick it in the parts washer, and if it still doesn't look clean, we'll have an experiment, and we'll chuck it in the ultrasonic and see if we can get it even cleaner. And we'll do a before and after with the ultrasonic. It's not really the kind of thing you'd do an ultrasonic in, but they are supposed to be good at degreasing as well. They use them for watch parts, which are generally gunked up with very fine grease. Yeah, that one's particularly scabby. Come on, focus. You don't want to focus, do you? Focus. I'll give up. Now, judging by the amount of crap on this one, I would say this is one of the popular gears. So this is one of the ones I will be looking at to see if it's got any signs of issues going on. Not seeing anything at the moment. The pickup gears are the only ones that have got any signs of, that look like they're a shark profile, but they're supposed to be like that. The amount of times you see people commenting on stuff, oh, that's the right state. I bought this brand new one, it's obviously a fake because it's got broken teeth on it. They're not, they're the pickup teeth. So look, that one, it's got a profile on it. It's got a profile on it, they're the pickup teeth. And you can see, because there's 3 of them, and then it goes to normal teeth. Normal teeth, normal teeth, normal teeth, normal teeth, pickup tooth, pickup tooth, pickup tooth, normal tooth, normal tooth, normal tooth. And that's how they work. And if you look on the other side, you can tell. Because there's even a profile to hook the chain. It's sculpted into it. So, keyboard warriors who don't know what they're talking about. Because their £2.99 bike from Alfred's doesn't have that, so none of them do, but they've never ridden a precision. God, this one's in a right state. This one's worse than the other one. I'm chiseling it off with my nail rather than the brush. No, they're fine. Nothing wrong with that. So look at this one. Oh God, that was even worse. The good thing about it is the brake degreaser, the brake pad cleaner, brake disc cleaner has got underneath it, so it's just popped straight off. Otherwise I'd be chiseling that for ages. Just check this one. Oh, this one's in a bit of a mess as well. There's about four popular gears. But it's compact, so you're going to get a wider range of gears used. Yeah, so I think all we need to do is just go stuff that in the parts washer now. Disgusting. Right. Off to the parts washer for a soaky go for a couple of days until we get that chain in. So what we're doing now is just put into parts ordering. Right, while we're here, let's chuck some degreaser on this and get the crud off these wheels. They don't actually look that bad. There's a bit of build up on this side. Won't be doing this when this is done. These will be going outside for this. Just getting this all anywhere where we've got any oily stuff. Give it a chance to soak in. Give the frame a quick wipe down. These are usually the worst bits. Right. So just waxed enough of that off. Set the Yorkshire. Alright. We're just gonna give it some ratting with a stiff brush now. So this is a motorbike chain brush, but you can use it. You can use it on here. I'm just gonna. Again, I don't use degreaser on this. Sorry, I am using degreaser on this. I'm not using brake cleaner. Brake cleaner's too harsh. if it gets into that bottom bracket, it will just dissolve the grease in the seal bearing, and then that's not good. Oh, that's handy. There's actually a train catcher on there. I'm just stippling away at it to try and loosen as much as I can off, and then we'll just go in with a cloth and wipe the rest of it down. Just need to be careful with these, they are a little bit more fragile, so I'm not going to go anywhere near as rough on this. Right. I hope you can see all this. I don't clean bikes. I keep saying that, but for some reason I keep ending up cleaning bikes. Yeah, this one's got a little ridge of crud on it. So I used my nail to scrape it off. Spent the next 6 hours digging that out with my fingernails. Yes, I know I should be wearing gloves. God, I didn't think they were that bad, but I think it was just it was exactly smooth, and the profile of the gear, it had not got the ridge on it, but that is quite. It's about half a mil deep of crud on that. I'm scraping off my finger. Same on both sides. Use that just to finish the last of it and get it out of the way. Right, yeah. I'm going to be chucking on my hands in a minute, and it's going to make me scream. Sorry, I'm sniffing and snorting. It's the cold. Not the cold in here. It's my cold. So it's just getting the oily rag treatment now. Helps preserve it. So I'll just use the rag to clean off the last of it. The bits on my nail have left behind. At least it's got most of it off. Yeah, I do find it a little frustrating when people take their bikes to bike shops, and I'm not going to say they get ripped off, but some of the policies that the bike shops have about how they deal with parts and things, because it's their own insurance and stuff. So if they take a bike in and they're unsure, they have to say, well, if I were you, I'd replace this. But there's got to be a certain amount of professional pride and common sense has to come in it at some point to just say that, you know what, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, unless they're seeing something I don't, or they've got some weird tolerance that's unexplainable. But so I'm not gonna slag off local bike shops. I use them myself. There's a couple around here that if I'm desperate for bits and I need them on the day, I'll go down there. And James's and Planet X have been very helpful recently with problems I had with the bike when I got knocked off by that car. James is doing the assessment of the bike for me and didn't charge me a fortune to do it. And they were very fair in their assessment as well. They didn't rip off the driver. They were honest about everything they said. So that gave a good outcome, and it gave me the confidence that I wasn't going to be riding a bike that was going to fall to pieces on me. But yeah, I knew which bits needed to be fixed, which I knew anyway, but I had a piece of paper and an independent person saying exactly the same thing, which was good. And Planet X helped me out 2 years ago when I broke the frame on my Fire Enzy. Well, I didn't break it, it just died of old age. You know, there's only so many, if you've seen the roads around here, there's only so long you can ride a carbon bike before the carbon starts to delaminate. And that's what it had done. It had fractured down the seats tube just from vibration on the shit roads. So couldn't source another one of them, but they did do me a deal on the orange bike, which was one of the Tour de France team bikes. So you know, I've ended up with an excellent bike. Gave me loads of advice about the bits I'd need to that wouldn't be compatible with the Fire Enzy. Which they were almost spot on. They got one of them wrong, but I'll let them off that, because obviously it's not a current brand, and they didn't have them. They didn't sell them for that long. They were just selling off the old stock. Somebody's been wanging grease in there to make it look like it's been serviced. A little bit of play on that, but then that's the thing with these. The mechanisms aren't as precise because they are made at a lower cost point. But having said that, though, you tend to find the ones that all that said, it just means it's a pain up for me setting it up. But the metal they're made out of will outlast the Ultegra, and the Ultegra will outlast the Dura-Race by a long time. Never understood why normal people buy Dura-Race, because it's just made out of lightweight cheese that's designed for a season, and that's it. You chuck it away at the end of it. You know, they replace the group sets after every couple of stages on the Tour de France. So because the metal is so light that it can't take. It's got no resilience at all. That is spot on. I think we've made quite a decent. To say I've not given it a proper deep clean in the bath, I think that's come up quite nicely. That. Just give that front bit of white where we've got a bit of overspray. The trouble is, it's like the Ducati. It's a matte black frame, so you can't leave anything on it because it just looks shit. Might as well give this side a wipe now. See what I've missed. I like this bike. It looks like it's been used. That's my assessment. I don't like bikes that spend most of their time hung up on a wall and then get detailed and then come out once a year. Right, that's ready now. All we're waiting for is to get our grubby mitts on a. That wasn't very good, was it? I zoomed right in. Framing again, Toller. Right, so we just give the front a quick wipe off because I've got some overspray. You probably saw me flitting around these bits. I'll give the back of the frame a bit of a wipe up as well. So it's all looking a lot better now. Let me zoom in on that. That's nice and clean. That's nice and clean. We've cleaned all the muck and the garbage off the stays. We've cleaned around the brakes. Come on, catch up. So it's a lot clean. The back blocks in the degreaser. I'll get the chain ordered now, so the chain should be here for the weekend. Might even get it here for tomorrow. So I might be able to get it all put back together tomorrow and get it back to Steve. Right. See you tomorrow. Looks like we might get one done in one episode. Haven't had that for ages. And just in case you wondered, these are the bits off the back of the saddle for the green skip bike. I did find a little bit of black metallic spray. It's just taking the edge off them. We'll get them fastened up. I couldn't really clean them very well, and it's a bit too cold for painting, so I think they're going to be a bit sticky for a while. Then, so we'll leave them. Get them put back on next time we do. Skip bike's outside, that's why you can't see it. We'll get that on Fleabay this weekend and get it out of the way. Right, see you when we've got a chain. Right, we're back. Following day. I've just realised the way I've got these bikes, it looks really cluttered behind it. It must be quite hard to pick out what's going off, because normally I have it that way round, or I have them over there, which is a bit more cleaner. But yeah, it's certainly got worse since we've got all that stuff behind it and the colour of the bike's kind of merging in. But unfortunately there isn't a lot I can do about it, because I can't put the bike where I normally have it, so we'll just have to go. Right, parts have arrived. The Amazon parts fairy arrived. Boom! That wasn't very slick, was it? You see that? So it's a KMC X11 chain. It is identical to the one that came off it, because after I turned the camera off last night, I got more brake cleaner on it and got the microscope out and had a look at it. It definitely wasn't the Z. I knew that because I couldn't see a Z on it. I just started to question whether it was a KMC or an NS RAM because of the markings, but it's exactly the same. The X is the shape on the front, and you can just make out the KMC around the edge of the rim, so we'll not lose the little split pins there. So all I've got to do is just marry it up for size against the other one. Chains are getting quite expensive now. The Ultegra chains are the base sort of average Shimano chains are about 30 quid, going up to 40 quid for the Ultegras, and even that was 20 quid, and I was paying well, £7 for them about 3 years ago. So I'm really starting to become quite expensive. Right, let's do the usual trick. Trying to get my hands filthy again. Yeah, I know, I ought to put some gloves on. So, usual trick. This is where we hope we've got a chain that's long enough, or I'm going to be crying considerably. I usually have to take about 4 links out of these. Right. So keep matching them together until they drift apart. Come on, stop. Try and keep the 2 links together. So we don't make any mistakes. I'll let that slip out of my fingers then. I'll start all over again. I don't know what's up with these chains, they're being really awkward. I've swapped over, now the clean one's at the front. I could just hang this up, to be honest. That's what I used to do. I used to just have 2 nails in a piece of wood and I used to just hang them up. But the trouble is, you can see the silver chain's already starting to overlap, and if you get a really worn one, you can be a link out. Right, don't let go this time. Right, so it's that one. That one. Right, I can now go in the garbage. I went through a phase of saving chains. I don't know why. I thought there might be something I could do with them, make something out of them, but I've decided better of that. I get through that many a year. I mean, that must be... We've probably done about 20 chains in the last year on various different people's bikes. I'm going to check that again because I think it's moved. God, what's up with me tonight? The trouble is, I went to pick the thing up and the chain flopped over in my hand, and then I had 2 pieces that were oh, now this is all in a... No, now they're both all in a 8 wriggle. Start again. What is up? To be fair, I'm not very well. Well, I wasn't very well yesterday. I'm a bit better today. I came in last night and I had quite hot sweats and fever. I've been kind of had a bit of a cough all week, and it just kind of came out last night. Right. That one. Don't let go of it. I think I did have the right one, because what I'd done is I put it in there and then I let it flop over. And I think what it was I ended up with like that, and then I'm questioning myself whether it was that one or the other one that I needed to do something with. As long as I don't drop this now, that's it, where we should be. Trouble is I'm using the BMX splitter and it's not wound out properly, so it's catching. That's it, that should be better now. Yeah, that's that one. It should. How was that managed to get out of there? Nice and tight, them KMC rivets. Did you hear that pop? I haven't checked to see how we're doing for the things doing on that. It looks like we're on the big ring, so let's send her over. I have noticed it's significantly easier to do this without the back wheel on. But maybe that's what I should be. It would be if you had it in the right way. No, I had it right first time. Yep, that's right. Actually, I forgot to tell Steve that his bike's more than likely going to be ready. Right, to make life easier, let's get the gadget out. We've lost the gadget. Gadget, snadget. Is it in here? Oh no! There it is, I found it. The gadget. It even has some things on there. You can even put the split links in there so you don't lose them. Start you again. Right, we've got the gadget out. All's good, we've got the gadget out. Panic over. That's it. Now I've got to feed it all the way back through again because it's all fallen off. Because we like doing it. We do it right because we do it twice. As Krusty says. Sorry, Musty. One. Is there a Musty? If he's Musty 1, there must be a Musty. Who is the original Musty? You know what, I'm not even going to bother with the hanger, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it. Right, there is a way to put these on. Oh no, I'm thinking of the SRAM ones. There isn't a way to put these on. These are actually quite nice. I seem to remember these go together quite easily. even if I'm being an absolute imbecile. Because I made it harder for myself with it being on the big ring, but that's it. No, don't need the splitter. Just can't find it. I must have had it yesterday. We'll just put the other split pins in there, so don't forget to give them back to Steve. I'll give them a quick shoot off with oh, they're down there on the floor. Why didn't you tell me they were on the floor? Let's get. I'll try and do this so I don't get in the way of the filming. I'm going to need to quickly run this through the chain cleaner because I've noticed that I've picked up some crap off the floor on it. Right, there we go. As easy as that. So you pull it out or you pull it in to squeeze it, and that's it. See if it's running all right. Right, so here's the rub. So on Alex's bike, which was absolutely shot, when I put a new chain on it, I had a length of chain that I clipped off another one, and I put it on, I could actually move it around. That's rock solid, that's not going anywhere. So if anybody thinks those teeth are worn, they're smoking crack. There's nothing wrong with them. And if they're not worn, the back cogs won't be worn, but I've seen no signs of wear on them as well. It's running spot on that. Just quickly run through the gears. Nothing wrong with that. Back one. Quickly show you that. Up. You see the gadget's moving it along. Simulates the gear change. It's all the way down. We've got it back down to the bottom now. It's where it should be. That's going to make it easier to put the wheel back on. Speaking of the wheel, let's go and get it out of the right, let's give this a quick once over. I know you've seen this millions of times. Yeah, it feels slimy. It's absolutely desperate for a clean out. Let's see if we get most of it off. A little bit of rust there, that's unusual. Usually there's that much oil on them. So I suspect that when it was very new, it did quite an early on ride in the wet. Let me just find somewhere to chuck these down. Squeeze, mate. When I say early on ride, when the bike was new and before the oil had got everywhere, it might have been in the rain. But you can see if you leave it to soak, and I've given it a bit of help with a bit of brake cleaner before we started. These are cleaned up quite nicely. So I chipped most of the really heavy stuff off, so that's come up quite nice, that. Really pleased with that, in fact. Yeah, these are cleaning up really nice. Yeah, it's one of those silly things, it doesn't really need doing. And really the owners of the bike should be cleaning these, but they are difficult to clean. I've got a parts washer, I can leave them to soak. And there's a bit of rust on that one as well. You know, it does make the bike look $1 million when you send it back compared to what it was looking like, because I can get to both sides of it. You know, I can stand there all day with one of those skinny brushes and some degreaser, and all I'm going to achieve really is just covering the floor with degreaser, and possibly there's rust on that one as well. So this is what I was saying about the parts. So this is a 105. It's either a 105 or a Tigra. It's definitely not an Ultigra. But it's got the construction of the Ultigra, but it's not made out of the same metal as an Ultigra, because an Ultigra has got quite a lot of stainless in it, so it's not going to rust. Whereas there's obviously it's a lower grade of metal in these, but it will make it stronger, to be honest. I'm assuming it's stainless that's in it. It could be some nickel compound or some chromium, but it'll be a different mix. It'll be a cheaper blend of metal. But generally, as a rule, the heavier you go, the harder it is, and the lighter you go, the softer it is on your normal metals. But then you get differences between different types of metal. So when you get into your titaniums and things, they're very light, very tensile. So I've got some metallurgists on there. They'll tell me I've got it completely wrong. Give me 29 reasons. But it's the blend in the alloy that makes them lighter. And obviously it's lighter, so it's softer. There's a lot of magnesium in some of these things that make them so light. And then you get down to the really naff stuff that a lot of the Chinesium parts are made out of, that I call Chinesium, and that is, there's a very high amount of magnesium in them. Now, magnesium alloy is softer than aluminium. It even makes aluminium light. Those spacers are plastic as well, and they are high tensile aluminium on the Ultigra. Doesn't make any difference, to be honest, because like I said, there was no sign of wear, so they're obviously doing the job. Nothing was moving around, because if it was, you'd see it on the witness marks. Could just chuck these in dishwasher, but I'll probably need to go and collect my balls from on the mantelpiece so they could be stitched back on and ripped off again. I did say I was going to put them in the parts washer, but I forgot to turn it on earlier, and it takes a while to warm up. Right, they're all done now. Just going to reassemble. I'm coming. Let me shut the door. It's dark out there now. Skip Bike's out there, sat on his own. Boom. Right, because we did have a little bit of an issue with some rusting. Oh god, that looks a bit scabby in there. Let's didn't spot that yesterday, did we? Looks like somebody's been loose with the red grease in there. That's why it looked a bit scabby. Somebody's just squirted red grease in there just to make it look like they have done something. And all that's happened is the red grease has got covered in shit. So we'll pick some of the chunky bits out. Yuck. That's all that is. That's just grease that's been squirted in. I know the first time I come across this and I thought it must be just one, but it's not. They're bloody all doing it. You don't need to grease a bearing if it's a sealed bearing. And squirting grease around the top of even on these open bearings, just squirting grease around the top of the seal isn't going to actually do anything. I mean, the actual bearing for the axle's buried deep down in there. I mean, you're not even close to the bearing for the thing, because we've got one of them. We stripped it down last year. It's exactly the same as one of these. What can I where's my cloth gone? So I'm not squirting the brake fluid stuff on the on the hub itself or squirting it on a cloth or wiping it off. There's a lot of crappy build up there. What I will do though is a bit of red grease, if I can get it to work. Just lube up the surface of that, make sure it's nice, so they seat down nicely. You don't have to do it. Right, where's the fat bit? So you know what we're doing here, we're looking for one of these channels is fatter, and there's one of these on here that's fatter, and then that sits in there, and I have to resist the urge to spin it round when I've done it. In fact, I will point the fat bit at me. Right, so the fat bit is pointing at me. Right, and what I'm also going to do is, because we've had a bit of oil on these, we've had a bit of rust on these, I'm just going to lube up that surface just to make sure that we don't get any water trapped in there. Again, you can only put these on one way round. The writing's on the outside. If you try to put it on the other way round, it won't work. Fat bit to me, down it goes. Need a spacer. So I think the Ultegra has two sets on a spindle. It has the first set, and then these next batch that I'm putting on now would be on a frame themselves, the next three. So I think there is still a difference between the Ultegra and the 105, even on the latest one. Fat bit, where is it? The fat bit's there. I can see the writing, so that's the way up it goes. Let's have a ring. Just have a look, see if there's anything on there that would allow the water to get down, because these are plastic. Can't see anything. Do you like my new oil dispenser? It is of the finest quality Chinesium. I'm doing well today, I've got every single one of these right. I've not picked up the wrong size yet. There's time. Don't get cocky, Toller. See, that just proves you can't put them on upside down, because I was trying to put the fat bit in, it wouldn't go on. Right, this should be the last of the plastic bits, or I've lost one. Got enough oil on my hands now, I don't need to squirt any more on. More on! Right, I think this is the right one. $12. So it should be, which means the other one's the last one, which it is. I can see it's got the nailed ring on it. There's the fat bit. There's the fat bit. Last one's always a bit fiddly. Then we've got the ring as well. Yeah, it is a 105. You can see it now, cleared all the muck off it. It does say 105. Drop that on. Remember, put that on using the tool. When I find out when I've put it, here it is. So, usual trick I do is just take it backwards until you feel it either drop in, or you're sure that you're nice and flat, and then just start to finger tight. If you're having to force this, you're probably wrecking the threads. They are a really fine thread, and obviously you're screwing into aluminium. And boys and girls, I tell you this every time, do not torque it up against the ratchet. I know you can, but that doesn't mean you should. Torque wrench. Should be on 45, but I think I span it around. Right, so that's 42. That's it. What I will do as well is I'll just put a bit of oil down there, because I did notice we got a bit of chafing going on. I've just put my oily hand all over. I'm going to give these a quick wipe down anyway, because the rims do look a bit scabby. So we'll get a cloth with a bit of degreaser on and maybe a bit of oil and just give them a wipe down. Yeah. Looks like he wants a bit of a clean up too. Get some more cloth. No, perfectly good cloth. Right, put the skewer back in. So I chucked a bit of oil down because the skewer looked a bit ropey. It was a bit stiff when it came out and I thought it was missing a spring, but it wasn't. It was just a bit graunchy, so I think we've got just a little bit of corrosion going on inside there. I don't like these plastic end ones. There's a lot of them seem to be using them at the moment. Skewer's not bent, is it? Oh, that's running a lot better. Just banged my little finger again. You remember when if you're watching the video when I was doing the skip bike and the tool cart fell over, I caught it with my finger, but I bent the end of my finger back and I think I might have fractured it. I've just caught it again then. Don't know why I'm using that scabby one. Surely we must have some better scabby ones than that. Trouble is the little squirty bottle I use for the small jobs is over the other side, and I can't be bothered to go and find it. This is where I find out as well that you're zoomed in down there on the red thing and I'm up here. No, I think that's good. Give the wheels a quick wipe off. They're quite. It's good. I think Steve's like me, he rides his bike all year round, so these aluminium anodised wheels are gonna take a battering. I mean, I cheat a bit. I have a winter set of sacrificial wheels, very similar to these, aluminium 30-35mm dished things. But they do tend to pick up a lot of the road salt. That's it. Let's get that back on. First things first, gadget removal. And the bit I hate, because it's really hard to do when it's on the stand. It's much easier to do this on the floor. I'm guessing Steve's running 35s, which is why they're a little bit snug going through the brake pads. Brakes look okay actually. I've just had a quick look at them. I did check them on the M-check, but I thought to give a proper look at them now while the wheel was out, and they look fine. So the chain was cockeyed on the rim then. Just checking that looks about centred. Nearly there. Just deciding where to put this. So, some frames you have to be careful because they actually end up being quite difficult to get the quick release undone if you put it in the wrong place. Some of them don't seem to have much of a cam on them. You get them so far and it doesn't feel like they're moving. I think that's okay. So look at that. That looks alright, doesn't it? Right, now question is, do you want a view of that? Or do you want a view of that? Or do you want a view of both? We do both. I think we can just about manage both. Right, I'll stand here. It's a little bit draggy then. I'm just going to, you know, we put one back on, I'm just going to take it back off again, see what it comes down like. Spot on that. Really, you tend to find it's coming down that's affected more by a worn chain. A bit too far, got a bit carried away. The first gear does seem to be a bit of a doozy to get it out of it. You just have to give it a little bit of extra, but then after that it's spot on, so I'm not too concerned about it. But if it's just one gear, and it's at the bottom as well, it's very rare anybody gets in that bottom gear, so I'm not too concerned. That's more bothered about. It's when you change down and nothing happens, it's annoying. Because the only way to do it then is to change down and then go up one. Whereas when you're going up, if it's like that, you can always just push a bit more on and it goes. You don't have to go up a full gear, you just, as you're bringing it up, you just hold it and just give it a little bit more and it goes. What it's like in the bottom. Of course you'd never be down in the bottom because that would be crossing and that's naughty. Bad things happen when you cross. There you go, no, it's exactly the same, that's fine. It's a nice group set, this 105. It's very smooth, quite pleased with that. So I think that's it. I think that looks good. We'll just check the back brake's not binding now. We've got even clearance, doesn't look like we have, so that's fine. Not bother with the adjusters. That's it, spot on now that. We'll call that one a win, I think. All's good. We can send that one back. So let's do a. Right, viewers. What have we learned today? Well, don't always take it as gospel when your local bike shop tells you that your bike is knackered and you're going to have to spend a small fortune repairing it. If they then start talking about deals, tell you what, we'll take your bike in part X, or it'll be cheaper and we can do you a deal on this bike here and keep that one for spares or a winter bike, at that point you want to be starting to question their motives. I'm not saying that that's what's happened in this case, I don't know, I deliberately don't ask. The message I got with this bike was, Steve had originally brought it to me, I couldn't do it because of that lot down there. And there was a load of other stuff in here as well piled up, and I got a whole load of bikes at the time. So I said I couldn't do it for a couple of weeks until I got the garage floor laid, and then I'd be fine. I didn't want people's bikes in here while I got stuff all over, because it just means bikes are going to get knocked over and it's just a nightmare. The garage floor's done that. Anyway, we digress slightly. In the meantime, because he wanted to he needed the bike, the gears weren't working or something, so he took it to a local bike shop. Don't know who they are, don't care really. The message I got back was, it's toast, the whole drivetrain's trashed, and to replace the whole group set, if you bought a brand new group set, so that, the chain, that, so that's, sorry, chain set, not group set, chain set. So that's your crank, your gears, your chain. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, chain sets that, crank sets that, group sets the whole lot. Yeah, so it would have been a new chain set. You're probably looking to buy it brand new. They're probably looking about 300 quid for a 105. I'm guessing, don't know. I think these are 100 and something in a 105. But it's whether or not, you know, if you were to get a direct replacement for that, which I'm not sure what it is. I've actually found these on the website. It just refers to that as an alloy crank. So it's of indeterminable thing, but it does look like an FSA. That ring's definitely FSA-ish, even though it's not branded. Planet X used to put these on exactly the same. But the mouldings do look very Shimano-ish. So, but normally if they drop a low-end crank on that's low-end Shimano-ish, they still have something on it. It either says Dior or Claris or Tournay or something like that. So it'll be one of those, and it doesn't say that. But anyway, so you're probably looking for about 40-50 quid to replace that at least. They do you for a bottom bracket at the same time, because why wouldn't you? I know if I was putting a brand new crank on, I'd probably recommend you went for a bottom bracket, simply because if you're putting a new crank in, you might as well. If you're spending 50-60 quid on a crank, an extra tenner for your bottom bracket. Well, they're not even a tenner anymore. Back blocks, 50-60 quid, I think. You could probably shop around and get it a bit cheaper, but they're not going to do that. They're going to buy them straight from their supplier. Chains, as we've discovered, are 20 quid anyway, so even if, you know, that lot, you're still talking about, you know, not buying it as a kit, just buying the cheapest components you could buy. You're still looking about sort of best part 120 and the rest. So yeah, probably 150, 160 quid plus the bottom bracket. So you're close to 200. So yeah, 300 for a group set. For a chain set, yeah, that's probably not a million miles away. And then if the bikes, I'm not sure. They sell a model of this now that's exactly the same in Evans, and I think it's about 575. So then that's the argument. Then at that point, if you're just going to have to spend, you know, best part of £300 plus labour as well. Don't forget there's the labour at £50 an hour. So there's probably 2 hours in that. It's not really, because if it's just chucking new parts on, it's now, but they'll tell you it's 2 hours anyway to tune it all up and all that lot. So by the time you've done that, it's nearly the value of the bike. But that's not the point. There's nothing wrong with this bike. So it's cost us 20 quid for a chain, and there's nothing wrong with this at all. We've done the chain test on there. It's not loose. There's no play at all. There's no sign of duff teeth on there in the slightest. The bottom one, that's hardly been used, that bottom ring. I've had the whole back block to pieces and had a look at it in the parts washer. It's fine, so there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm just saying, just don't take everything as gospel. Get somebody else to have a look at it, get a second opinion, and make your own mind up. It's your own decision at the end of the day. And I guess if you want peace of mind, I think the biggest moral of this is why I do a lot of these videos, is I want to give you the ability to be able to do this yourself. So buy yourself a chain tool. Do you know how much they are? They're about $3.99 from Amazon. Little spanner, drops in there. Change it as soon as it goes through the first one. Don't wait for the second one, because you're only going to get another couple of months out of it anyway, and it's a bit of a false economy. Because I've got a bike inside that's got, actually, or has it? No. The Holsworth over there has got the original group set from the first Holsworth, and that group set is over 10 years old now. it's had 6 chains on it, and I've not replaced anything on it yet. But the only caveat I'll put around that is that I am running summer and winter wheels on that, so the back block only gets 6 months worth of use, and the ring at the front, did I change it or not? No, I didn't. I haven't changed it. I was going to, but then I looked at it and it was fine, so I didn't bother. So there you go. And there used to be an argument that I wasn't using the wheels in the winter, but originally I had a wheel on turbo trainer. So even my winter wheel on the bike was on the road, my summer wheel was on the turbo trainer, still getting used in the winter anyway, and in probably a worse environment, to be honest. So, you know, I was still using, getting the miles out. And I've 10,000 miles, that group set's done. Hey ho. I'll probably not replace the group set, to be honest. If it gets to the point where it's too worn, I'll strip it off the I bought another one second hand off eBay and put it on the turbo bike. So I will just steal that one for that bike, because the next time if I have to replace the group set, I will get a hydraulic disc frame. So I'll retire all of them, or I might just go and buy a titanium frame, which is kind of my retirement bike. Anyway, we'll waffle in a bit. The good news is there's nothing wrong with this one, and 20 quid as opposed to 300 quid. Well, plus labour. I don't charge labour. You know, like Wes is watch Wes work, WWW. I'm exactly the same, except my WWW is will work for wine. Basically, I don't get paid. I do all this for free. I just charge for the parts. I don't charge for any of the lubricants or anything that I use. If anything comes out the parts bin, I don't charge anybody for it. You know, if people want to donate their old parts and they're still serviceable, they go in the parts bucket and they get reused. So it's not. That's it. And the oils and things, I just class them as consumables and overheads that are mine anyway. So I've probably used a couple of quid's worth of flipping cleaners on this bike. Bit of grease, bit of oil. And that's it really, not a lot. To be honest, this was quite an easy one. It was just cleaning. This was just elbow grease. Right, hope that's been useful. Like and subscribe, please. And we'll see what's coming in next. Job's a good one.